All right, guys, so we built up my Evolve 33 for TAC the other day, and now we are on to the arrow build for it. So, like we talked about, we're heading out to TAC in PA at the end of May, and me and JR both built up bows and then arrows specifically for this event. So, I built up some Sonic 6.0s. I wanted something that was going to be light and shoot decently fast so that I can shoot those longer distances and get my bow to be able to dial out to those distances. So I opted for the Sonic 6.0. So these things are cut, I believe I cut them very short. My goal was to keep these arrows between 400 and 420 grains. So we got a 300 spine. It's cut down right at 26.5 inches. We've got 50 grains of brass in the front, and then we've got the Easton match grade 100 grain point in the front of these arrows. So I've got them fletched up in two different configurations. I've been a big fan of the AAE Max Stealth for a long time, as well as DCA's Mini Sabres, excuse me. They both performed well for me, but I wanted to take them out and see how they both group, if there is a difference in grouping for myself. One's a little bit longer profile, and then one's a little bit shorter profile. So the overall weight between the two varies just a little bit. So with the AAE Max Stealth vanes, we're looking at an overall weight of 422 grains. And then with the DCA Mini Sabres, we're looking at right at 412 grains. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna head out to our farm, and we're gonna go and shoot these, and I'm gonna see how they group, and if there is any difference in group for me at a little bit of distance. So we're gonna get our stuff together and we're gonna head over there, and we will see you guys out at our range. So we are out at our property, and before we get started shooting the groups between these two different arrows, I actually want to put it through the chronograph real quick and see what speeds we're getting out of it. So this thing's pulling right at 71 pounds at 28.5 inches. First arrow is going to be 412 grains, and that's with the Mini Sabres. The second arrow is going to be 422 grains, and that's with the AAE Max Stealth. So let's get an idea what the numbers are real quick. So 286 feet per second with the Mini Sabres at 412 grains. And let's take a look. 422 grains. That's at 283 feet per second. So about a 3 feet per second difference. So I'm gonna go grab these real quick, then we're gonna step back and see what they group at 40 and 60 yards. What do you think, JR? 40 and 60? Yeah. 40 and 60. Give me just a second. One of the things we were discussing a little bit too is I want to get as much speed out of this bow as I possibly can. And there's a couple limiting factors. This is a 70-pound bow. I don't have 80-pound limbs for it. And my draw length is 28.5 inches. And I don't want to overstretch myself so I don't shoot it comfortably. But JR brought up a good point about a couple options that we got. So one, whenever we get back to the shop, this is a 70-pound bow. We're going to twist the cables up and try to get it closer to 75 pounds. Yeah. But another good point he made is stretching my draw length out about a half inch, so taking it to 29 inches, and then changing the let off to 85%. Right.
So it wouldn't necessarily make it a full half inch in length over that, because once you move that let off post, it will shorten it just a little bit. So it'd be probably more like a 7/16 increase in draw length, so it really shouldn't be that uncomfortable. And
right.
Just play around with it and see how you feel with it. You know, just get a few shots with it and just see how you feel.
Right, because the goal is to get this bow up closer to the mid 290s, 300 feet per second, as much as we can get out of it, while still being able to shoot it well. Right. You know, and we got to be careful too, because I'm going to run these arrows. These arrows I'm running, we've got them cut really, really short. So I think they're about, JR, if you look,
you've got about an inch before you'd be hitting the actual launcher itself. So, I mean, we could definitely get away with it, but that's really all you'd be able to use that arrow for is just target. You wouldn't be able to use it for hunting.
Right, which is the whole purpose of this bow build, right, for TAC. So we're going to probably do that when we get to the shop, and then we'll give you guys some feedback too as to let you know what it ends up being speed-wise. But since we are out here, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to shoot a group like I said, with these Mini Sabres and compare them to the AAE Max Stealth. Now bear with me, I'm not an incredible shooter, but we're gonna see if there's any deviation in my group at all. So we'll go ahead and start off with the Mini Sabres, and then JR can kind of keep an eye on things.
Yep.
So like I said, brand new bow. So this bow really has not been broken in good. We did do a 3D shoot over the weekend. So I've probably got 100 arrows through this bow so far. So we're still breaking it in. And it may have even lost a little bit of poundage with it being new. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna fix that problem by getting back in the shop, twisting up the cables. But before we do that, let's see what this group looks like. We're out at 40 yards right now.
That was pretty good.
And I feel like the sight tape is a little bit slow because I did step it off.
Yeah, so that's something we'll just have to really fine tune, and that's where it just really becomes important. Just really take your time when you're sighting it in to make sure you're getting a good quality sight tape on your bow. And obviously, the further out you can shoot your bow to, that will really help as well. You can just get it really fine tuned and dialed in.
It's a process.
It is. It's something that you, like I said, you just don't want to rush it.
And I'm pushing these a little bit to the left. I can see my peep still got a little bit of twist in it.
Yeah, we'll have to get that straightened out.
So first 3 at 40 with the Mini Sabres. Now let's take a look at these Max Stealths.
I really feel like if we get it to 75 pounds, even if we keep the draw length the same, because 28.5 does look really good on you. If we can get it to 75 pounds, you'd be pushing closer to 290s.
Which is the goal.
Yeah, and that'll be perfect. And if we move your peep height up just a little bit, we can definitely make sure we'll be able to get you stretched out to hopefully 120.
Which is what we want. So you can kind of manipulate things in our favor to get the bow to do exactly what we want.
Yep.
They're all right in there together.
It's very consistent, so we'll just have to see how it does at 60. And another thing as well is you don't have a stabilizer on there. You just have the kill shot
This is true.
dampener on there, so that could possibly get you to feel a little bit more comfortable and get you to settle better too. If you're feeling like it's getting any kind of deviation or floating.
Which we shot it this weekend at 3, and it shot really, really well for right out of the gate. So let's go take a look at this group, see where we're at. This is at 40 yards. Then we're gonna step back to 60 and see how it looks. To the left, but I mean, it's very...
Yeah, I mean, kind of like that. Say that's about a 4-inch group, and then that's just a little bit wider on those Mini Sabres. Just a little bit, but it's
so
nothing to shake a leaf at.
right, based off that, I would shoot either one. So we'll step it back a little bit further and take a look. All right, so we're gonna confirm it. Got old Bigfoot down there. 60 yards, like JR said, move the tape. Again, starting with the Mini Sabres. Let's see.
Yeah, maybe still just a hair left. Oh yeah, we'll just leave it.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, just leave it, be consistent.
We'll make adjustments later. Ooh, that was low.
Oh yeah.
Left and right look good though.
Just a hair bit low on that one too.
Yeah.
onto the Max Stealth.
Ooh. Just smacked the Mini Sabre.
Yep. So it sounds like an arrow smack there.
That was a little bit low too. They're all right in there though. Mm-hmm. Left and right looks good on them.
We might just need to double check the axis on that sight.
Yeah. That group looks better. Let's go take a look. All right, well, flyer we got here. Everything else looks pretty consistent. I obviously dropped this one. I mean, for me, either way, I could shoot any vein, I think. Personally, I just need to spend a little bit more time behind the riser. But with what we're trying to do for this, I think I'm going to stick with the Mini Sabre, just because it's overall it's a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you broke that arrow.
Did it?
Yep.
Well,
I just saw that.
That's great.
One arrow down.
One arrow down. But with the goal of this build, being able to get as much speed as we possibly can out of my draw length, I think I want to be within that 400 to 420 grains, and this puts right in the sweet spot, 412 grains. Right. And we're gonna go back to the shop now. We're gonna twist the cables up, stretch out the draw length about a 1/2 inch to 29 inches, and then change the let off to 85% and see what we get out of it. Right. So we'll go back to the shop after we finish up here. We'll get that on video and see what the changes are in overall speed out of the bow. Okay. So right now, out of the gate, both arrows, I mean, both vein configurations, obviously, they both fly really, really well. The arrows, that match grade Axis, or excuse me, Sonic 6.0 from Easton is, you know, a phenomenal arrow. The bow's obviously been tuned very well, so flight is very consistent. We just need to check a couple things, one being the sight tape, to level the sight that we talked about, and then up the poundage on the bow a little bit via the cables. So looks good. So we'll see you guys back in the shop. We're gonna go back, we're gonna twist everything up and see what speeds we get out of it. Report back. So we're back in the shop, and like we said, we're gonna manipulate this bow a little bit to get a little bit more performance out of it for myself. So before we do that, I actually wanna see what it's actually pulling right now to see if it's lost any of its actual weight from shooting it, since it's still new, still getting broke in. Was pulling 71 pounds. Still pulling 71 pounds, 71.7 pounds. So what we're gonna do is, first thing we're gonna do is we are going to change the draw length, and we are going to extend it a 1/2 inch. So we're gonna go from 28.5 inches to 29 inches. And then we're gonna change not only that, but the let off. So we're gonna go from 90% to 85% in hopes of gaining a little bit more speed, which we know we will whenever we, you know, stretch a draw length. And then we're going to take and we're going to actually twist the cables up to hopefully get it closer to 74, 75 pounds and get as much as we possibly can out of the bow, shooting those Sonic 6.0s with the DCA Mini Sabres. So let's go ahead and get the draw length changed real quick, which is an easy fix. With manipulating the draw length like this, I typically would not do this on a hunting bow. So with a hunting bow, I always pretty much shoot 28.5 inches. But with this, I know I'm gonna be able to, I'm not gonna be in awkward positions. I'm not gonna be shooting sitting down in the kneeling position. So I can kind of tweak my form a little bit to make this bow fit for me, to get a little bit more performance out of it. Versus with the hunting bow, I like the draw length to be, if anything, a tad bit short, so that if I am in an awkward position, I don't have an issue with that bow being too long on me. I can still shoot out of any of those awkward positions, out of a saddle, on the ground, on my butt, with no issues. You got a lot of adjustment within the PSE bows when it comes to let off, some 80 all the way to 90%. So it gives you the ability to play with the bow a little bit more, and, you know, like we said, kind of fine tune it to the individual. Cool, well, let's go ahead, and before we do that, and
get her twisted up.
Yep, we're gonna go ahead and put it in the press, and we're gonna twist these cables up probably, JR, I think we said 3 or 4, 3 turns.
Yeah, should get it probably pretty close to 74 pounds.
Okay.
One thing to remember when you are doing this is you're going to be messing with, you can mess with your timing a little bit. It's going to also mess with your brace height and your overall axle length as well. So it's not something that's really advised, but you do need to also double check your center shot because it can change your center shot.
And when we let it down, I like to keep a little bit of tension on the string to keep everything nice and tight as we let it down in case something isn't seated correctly.
Yep. That way you'll know.
You'll know right away. So I put 3 twists in the bottom cable, 3 twists and JR put 3 twists in the top cable. So now we'll double check our timing and make sure these cables are seated correctly. It's 73 pounds.
Pretty close. Yeah, that timing still looks perfect. Your top cam is maybe
A hair fast.
it's like a 1/16 of an inch. But for that, you can kind of mess around with that if you really want to. It can be hard just for that tiny little bit.
And the other thing with pressing the bow is you just need to press it enough to take the tension off the cables. You don't got to overpress your bow when it's in a press. I'm going to check it again with the hand scale.
Yep. Thank you.
76 pounds.
Oh, morning.
So we're up there. All right, so we changed the draw length on this thing. We went again from 28.5 to 29 inches, from 90% to 85%. We added 4 pounds to the draw weight of the bow by twisting the cables up to get a little bit more speed and performance out of this platform for the tack event. So originally with this arrow, this is a 412 grain arrow. We were getting 286-ish out of it. So now we're gonna see what we get with going from, I think we were at 71.5 now to 76 pounds.
Yeah.
And
76 depending on the scale.
Yep. And 29-inch draw length.
How's it feel?
Feels smooth. How's that look right there?
Go up just a hair, right there. 300.
300 feet per second.
Money.
Exactly what we were after.
How does the draw length feel?
It honestly doesn't feel much longer.
Right. I would say
So,
theoretically it should be closer to like 7/16 probably added on.
so let's look at it again. So like we said, we added a 1/2 inch, but with playing with the let off,
It's also shooting paper quick too.
see how it performs through paper.
Might as well, right?
Might as well. Go through the works. Arrow is, we still got
Oh yeah, plenty.
got plenty of room. Draw length doesn't feel much different.
Good.
How's it look?
Yeah, it looks good on you. Still looks good. Oh, definitely got some tuning.
Yep, so now we're gonna have to go through and retune it. Looks like we're gonna have to shim the bow.
Got a pretty good knock left here. And a little bit knock low, which makes sense because we were, like I said, messing
With the brace, yep.
But that'd be an easy fix with some easy 220 shims.
So, we got what we wanted out of the bow now. We got it up to 300 feet per second with manipulating a couple different things. One, the draw weight and the draw length of the bow while making it shootable for me. It's not uncomfortable.
Correct.
It still fits me. And with JR's advice, with changing the let off, there's not a huge change in that draw length to where I feel like I'm, over stretching what I'm supposed to.
And it should, a lot of times it does it gets rid of some of that dump because it's got such a steep curve to go over with that 90%.
Right.
So, it's going to change your holding weight, obviously, but I noticed that it makes the bow feel a lot smoother.
It does. The draw cycle is a lot more consistent, and I've never liked shooting a bow at 90%. But going to that 85%, the draw cycle feels smooth all the way through. It doesn't dump, like you said, doesn't roll over harshly. It's nice and smooth, nice and consistent. It's stiff, but the EC2 cam is such a good cam on these PSE bows that, this thing's pulling 76 pounds and it's a breeze.
And then for letting it down as well, I feel like it makes it so much easier to let down on that 85% too.
You can rip this thing back. Still feels really, really good.
Yeah, you look good. I didn't see any torquing or anything. I feel like that grip is very, very repeatable.
Yeah, it really is. So consistent. So Yep, so we got 2 consistent tears. What are they, knock? Knock left.
And just a hair knock low.
Knock low, and that's an easy fix. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna shim the bow over to the left, adjust the center shot a little bit on it, and then I'll have to change out my sight tapes again because we gained about 14 feet per second out of the bow. So that's it in this video. You know, we wanted to show you guys that you can kind of manipulate a bow to do what you want it to do with a couple different key factors, one, draw length and draw weight. So if you've got good techs in your area or you're capable of doing it, it's always things you can play with your cables, your draw length, and your let off to really get the bow to do exactly what you want. And with us heading out to TAC, this is doing exactly what I want it to do. It's shooting fast. We're getting 300 feet per second out of it. Now we just got to tune it and resight it in.
Yep.
What you think?
Let me shoot real quick.
Let him shoot it.
See if I made the right decision.
It's a good shooting bow. The Evolve 33, I cannot preach enough how good it really shoots and holds on target. It is a fun to shoot bow.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like 76 pounds at all.
At all. Consistent. Same tear. So we both got the same tear, so that's it. That's next step, tuning this thing, which will only take us a few minutes. We'll get in here, bust the shims out, shim the cam over. You said knock left?
Yep.
Shim the cam over to the left and clean it up. And like I said, go back, head out and start doing some practice, some long distance stuff. So,
absolutely.
As always, we appreciate you guys watching. If you've got any questions for us, drop them in the comments box below. Again, let us know if you guys are going to be out at TAC. And if you need anything in the archery world, head over to our website, extremeoutfitters.com. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. Right out of the gate, you get a discount code for all your savings, and you get some locked into some of the biggest deals
in the industry. Biggest and best.
Biggest and best deals in the industry. So we always appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate your feedback, and we'll see you guys in the next video.